Hello, this is Jim Stockstill, bringing you a teaching from the program entitled The Handwriting on the Wall. What I'm going to re-emphasize today is that we're in the end of the end times. And what marked the end of the end times was the establishment of Israel as a nation in 1948. Israel had been scattered through all the nations of the world since 70 AD. Then in 1978, according to Bible prophecy, a nation was born in a day. From God's perspective, Jerusalem is the center of the earth. And I think geometrically, if a survey line was drawn through the world, that Jerusalem would be the center. Perry Stone and some of the other Bible prophecy teachers believe that man was created in Israel, that in that area right in there that God made Adam and Eve, and that the Garden of Eden was actually right in that area during that time. And I think Perry Stone has done an exhaustive study on it, and it's quite amazing the significance that the first Adam was created there, and then the second Adam, which is Jesus, was crucified there and then resurrected there, and now we are born into the second Adam. But as far as God is concerned, there's only been two men ever made, and the two men were the first Adam, and the second man was Jesus, which is the second Adam. Adam had lost everything to Satan. When Adam sinned and believed the serpent, he gave this world to Satan. Jesus came and he took back the earth and gave it back to man. We now have the authority on this earth. Satan is not in control now, and the church has the control because Jesus is the head of the church, which is his body, the fullness of everything that fills us all in all. And if he said he's put all things under his feet, well, if we are a many-membered body, as we say we are when we take the Lord's Supper, then all things are under our feet. We are one with God. We are sons and daughters of God. And we are heirs. And this earth is ours. And we need to claim it, and we need to put Satan under our feet in these last days. We need to take the authority. As we see things getting darker, we need to take the authority and put Satan and these things under our feet. The gates of hell will not prevail against us. We are the head and not the tail. We are the army on the offensive. I want you to understand that. And I want to go over just briefly Ezekiel, just to clarify it. The word of the Lord came to me, that's Ezekiel, saying, the word of the Lord came to me, and he said, saying, Son of man, when the house of Israel, they dwelt in their own land, they defiled it by their own ways and deeds to me. Their ways was like the uncleanness of a woman in their customary impurity. Therefore, when I poured out my fury on them. So he said their ways turned him off. And he said he poured out his fury on Israel for the blood that they had shed on the land and for their idols, which they had defiled. So I scattered them among the nations. You got to see that. Go to Ezekiel. I think this is 35, chapter 35, and it says he scattered Israel among all the nations of the world. That happened in 70 AD. I judged them according to their ways and deeds. But then I had concern for my holy name, he says. And so I say to the house of Israel, thus saith the Lord God, I'm going to restore you, but I don't do this for your sake, O house of Israel, but for my holy name's sake, which you have profaned among the nations. For I will take you from among the nations, I'm going to gather you out of all the countries, and I'm going to bring you into your own land. Then I will sprinkle clean water on you, and you shall be clean. I will cleanse you from all your filthiness and from your idols. I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. I will take the heart of stone out of your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. So we see that God scattered Israel, and they were scattered for almost 2,000 years. And then in 1948, they became a nation again, the only nation that's ever been completely obliterated and then come back as a nation. So this is the hand of God. Now Amos says that Israel's never going to be moved again. And so I just want you to know that this marks the end time, and all this uproar and this fighting in the Mideast now is setting up for some famous battles, and I'm going to get into that next time. But right now I want to defer a little bit because I want to just go over our Bill of Rights that the Constitution has given us. For I see we are being ransacked by our government. Our rights are being stripped from us daily. We're becoming a nation that's being monitored, that's being a surveillance nation. They even, now that I heard the administration wants to okay drones to patrol the area and survey us. We have traffic lights that survey us and give us tickets. And if somebody else was driving your car, then you would be innocent, but you still would get the ticket. So we're becoming a surveillance society. We're becoming a society that wants everything given to us, an entitlement society. We believe the government ought to feed us, birth us, clothe us, wipe our nose. This is far from what America was. America was a dependent, a fiery, independent country, and our forefathers came over here and braved the winters and the beast and the diseases, and they established a country, and they believed that you stood on your own feet, that you didn't get handouts. And even the Bible says if you don't work, you don't eat. But now we've become one that we think we have to have our health care given to us, we have to have our food given to us, everything has to be given to us. We're entitled to have so many cars, so many TVs, so many this, that the wealth has to be distributed. Well, we create the wealth. Individuals create the wealth, so who are you distributing if you're not working? You distributing wealth that somebody else has created. But I want to get into our Bill of Rights because I think a lot of you, it's time for us to push back a little bit. I'm not advocating any violence. I'm advocating calling your senators, your representatives, speaking up when something goes wrong. Even speaking up in boldness, yet with respect, when you're being treated wrong at downtown and doing business with the county or the state governments or the federal government, when they're rude or something, you should say something about it. You should say, I should be treated with respect, you know. So many of us are working for the government. I just don't know who's going to support the government when we all can't work anymore. That's beginning to worry me a minute. But the Bill of Rights I want to go over is a collective name of the first 10 amendments of the United States Constitution. They put limitations to protect the natural rights of liberty and property. They guarantee a number of personal freedoms. They limit the central government's power in judicial and other proceedings, and they reserve some powers to the states and to the public. The amendments were introduced by James Madison to the first United States Congress as a series of legislative articles. Now, it's funny, they weren't adopted until 1791. But who, I'll ask you guys out here in the audience, who was just sworn in. It was a new Secretary of State that was sworn in, I think it was. The new Secretary of State put his hand on the Constitution and not the Bible. I mean, did anybody hear that? I mean, you're supposed to be sworn in with your hand on the Bible. He put his hand on the Constitution. He put his hand on the Constitution that wasn't ratified. In 1787 Constitution, where the Bill of Rights hadn't been ratified yet. Was he saying something to us, or was this just an oversight? So, somebody help me. Was this an oversight? I mean, is he smart enough to know that he was saying something to us, that they're stripping our rights? Look, we're suffering some real indignities. We go to the airport, we let our wives and our children be groped on visually naked, standing in front of those screens. We allow that stuff because a few terrorists cause some problems. They're taking them out now. But we allowed that such nonsense to have to be screened naked in front of somebody up in some booth. We're allowing ourselves to be just herded like sheep. We need to stop this stuff. So this Secretary of State that just got sworn in, he didn't even put his hand on the Bible. They didn't even put his hand on the Constitution that ratified the Bill of Rights. Our rights. The Bill of Rights are the only rights we have as people in the United States. The Bill of Rights came into effect as constitutional amendments on December 15, 1791. Through the process of ratification by 3/4 of the states. At that time, I think, I'm going to go on, there was, by that time I think there was 13 original colonies, 13 states now, when the Constitution was ratified and the Bill of Rights was ratified. There was 13 states. George Washington had handwritten copies given to, had made 14 copies, gave 13 of them to the states and put one in Federal Hall. And now it's on display. But so George Washington was important on that. The Bill of Rights play a key role in American law and government, and remain a vital symbol of the freedoms and culture of our nation. And let's see. Let me start going over it. You see, they needed to put the Bill of Rights in because they knew what the abuse that Britain had done to them. Their rights as citizens had been stripped away by an overpowering central government. Great Britain was overpowering central and was abusive to them, was controlling their every move, and that's why we broke away. We broke away from big government. The First Amendment is freedom of speech, freedom to say that Islam is an antichrist religion, and then to prove it. Or to say that you don't like Jim Stockstill. You got freedom of speech. You have freedom of speech without freedom of speech, you're going to suppress truth. Freedom of speech might cause you might be liable for saying something that was wrong, but still, truth could never be expressed and things could never be challenged if you didn't have freedom of speech. Second Amendment was the sovereign state's right to keep and bear arms, a well-regulated militia necessary to the security of a free state, and the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Had anybody turned on the news? Well, they're trying to get your guns. They're trying to take our guns away. The only protection we have against a tyrannical government are our firearms. And I think I got a 22, but I believe in the rights to protect ourselves and to protect my home. Third Amendment, protection from quartering of troops. No soldier shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner. Fourth Amendment, protection from unreasonable search and seizure. Come on now, we're going down the road now, and they're pulling us over for a license check. We were never meant to be patrolled and governed like this. We were never meant to be herded like cattle like this. If somebody is broken out of jail and there's a convict on the loose, fine. But we're being violated here. Our rights are being violated right here in Person County. Protection from unreasonable search and seizure. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, their houses, their papers, and their effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause. If I want to have you arrested, I go down to the local magistrate and I swear on the Bible that you've done something wrong. And he will put you in, he will issue a warrant, they will come and pick you up, and they will photograph you. Just on me, whether I lied or whether I didn't lie. That's wrong. This is going on, it's going on throughout the nation, and it needs to be stopped. But who's going to stop it? Who's going to stop it? Unless we say no and raise Cain when this happens. And some of you have been violated on. Some of you have been lied about. And there are a lot of mean people who would just get you in trouble like that. Fifth Amendment, due process. It's against due process of law. And no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury. So if you got to have a federal crime, you have to have a grand jury indictment first. And you can't be judged, you can't be tried twice for the same crime. That's what that would mean. Sixth Amendment. Trial by jury, a right of the accused. So you have a right to a jury trial. Seventh Amendment, civil trial by jury. Eighth Amendment, prohibition of excessive bail and cruel and unusual punishment. That's our protection. Ninth Amendment, protection of rights not specifically enumerated in the Constitution. And the 10th Amendment, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states, respectively, or to the people. I may go over this one more time, but these are, we have amendments. They were put in to protect us. They're being abused. They're being taken away from us, all because of we want, the people seem to say it's okay as long as we have security, as long as you feed us, as long as you clothe us, as long as you, then just take away our rights. That's not right. Some of you like that, some of you aren't. And if you aren't, let's stand up and do something about it. Until next time, I want you to just keep looking for the handwriting on the wall.